But it's not just technology. It's they want to have a purpose.
Yes.
They want to continue to contribute to society.
Mm-hmm.
And many of them are very, very busy.
Yeah.
But what are we doing that continues to enhance their life and help them? You know, one of the speakers here talked about the bucket list.
Yeah.
What are those things? And he said the bucket list, like ones that I don't, but really it's what's on their bucket list
Sure.
that they still didn't get to do,
Yeah.
whether it was travel, whether it was participate in certain activities of
Yeah.
things. What are we doing
Yeah.
to help them from a consumer demand standpoint to continue to live the life that they always wanted to live?
Yes. Welcome to The Move In, a senior living marketing podcast from Unlock Health, a full-service marketing partner for the aging services industry. Join us for candid conversations exploring the latest marketing strategies with the senior living community leaders and innovative solution partners who are moving our industry forward. Together, we'll build a community to build better communities. What does experience really mean in senior living today, and are we evolving fast enough to meet what residents now expect? Hello, I'm Larry Williams, and welcome to the Move In Senior Living Marketing, powered by Unlock Health. The truth is, today's seniors aren't looking for a place to slow down, they're looking for a place to live, a place that feels connected, convenient, and full of purpose. They're streaming their favorite shows, joining virtual family calls, and expecting that same level of access and experience inside their community. In today's conversation, I chatted with Heather TerHark, Chief Strategy Officer at Viva Senior Living at the SMASH Conference. Together, we unpack how consumer expectations are changing and how senior living communities can evolve through technology, design, and a renewed focus on creating meaningful experiences. In this conversation, we discussed how technology is reshaping senior living expectations and what that means for design and operations, and why experiences become the key word across marketing, sales, and resident life, and how embracing innovation helps communities create connection, purpose, and peace of mind. Let's jump into it. All right, we are on the move in senior living marketing, powered by Unlock Health. We are on the last day of SMASH. What a whirlwind it's been. It's been incredible. I have Heather TerHark, the Chief Strategy Officer at Viva Senior Living, with me. Welcome to the show, Heather.
Thank you, Larry, for having me. I'm super excited. Thank you for all your support to SMASH through this week and just all of the great things that you've brought to this conference.
Thank you so much for saying that. Couldn't do it without my main manager last year, with the support and encouragement of the Unlock organization and Unlock team. So kudos goes to them. And thank you. You're on the board of SMASH, right? You're a board advisor,
That's
right?
correct.
Tell me what that means for this conference.
So we get the opportunity to get feedback from solution providers like yourself, from the attendees, to look at what they want this conference to be. This conference is the one conference that's very geared to sales and marketing professionals in senior living.
Yeah.
There are a lot of conferences out there that offer a lot of great content, but this is truly the opportunity. And so we hear different topics that people want to hear.
Yeah.
We get to hear, and we get to do what they call Sherpa calls with the speakers and give them advice in case they've never worked in senior living, just so they understand the profession and all.
Yeah.
And we get to be part of the planning of it. But the SMASH team, Bailey and her team, they do the hard work. We just, as you said, get to be advisors.
It's such an incredible team too, and just very hands-on. I was telling Bailey just yesterday, like, it's amazing. Like, I don't know when she's able to like just calm down a little bit, because she's always running place to place, and while she's going different places, like, everybody's like, Bailey, I need this, need that, but she handles it with such grace, and she never seems rushed, and she answers all the questions. So again, kudos to this team, the advisory board, and everybody who's invested in this conference, because it is what I'd say the Super Bowl of senior living sales and marketing, and everyone coming together. And everybody's heard this. It's just amazing how people come together, from solution partners to operators, everyone, to like look at this bigger picture and how can we improve as a community.
Well, and it's so much fun when we see like the newcomers, like that this is their first conference, and they're just shocked by how friendly people are, and they're just, you know, how they're embraced by this community that you talked about, that you don't get to always experience in other conferences.
100%. I find that in other conferences within other spaces, you know, outside senior living, you know, there's a lot of like lines between like competitors, and it's very like standoffish at times. There's none of that here. And I'm thinking about with Brooke Ellis, she was the keynote yesterday, and we had the opportunity to sponsor that. And that was so rewarding. But she was talking about, this is her second time here. She said, I haven't met like a mean person, or everybody's been super nice. Everybody. And she said the love, you can feel it throughout this conference. So again, kudos to everyone involved to make this happen.
Well, on behalf of everybody, again, we just thank you for your sponsorship.
Absolutely.
Because it could not be done without you.
Absolutely. So many great sponsors.
So thank you.
Well, let's dive into what we're going to speak about today. But before doing that, I want to hear, what's your role as a chief strategy officer? Is it more about the overall strategy? Or are you leaning into the marketing side more, the sales? What is a chief strategy officer? What's your day-to-day function?
So we're a very growing organization. So the answer to your question is all of those things, everything. So as part of that growing, that asset inquiring, also the sales, the marketing, and then overall, what kind of strategy, what type of programming are we specializing in our communities? So I get the opportunity to interact from a operations, a financial, a clinical side, and try to bring the best of everything into our communities.
How long have you been in senior living aging services?
I have actually been in healthcare since I was in college, and I changed my major to go into healthcare. So I always tell everyone I've never done anything but healthcare. Nice. I've worked that full continuum of not only senior living, but home health, hospice, pharmacy, it's skilled nursing, post-acute. So I've really had that opportunity to understand that continuum. And my very, very first job was in a hospital, and I did like cardiac and pulmonary rehab. But the thing that I also got to do that I always love to entertain people by telling is we did water aerobics because I was part of that cardiac health. But I had a class that there was a Catholic hospital, and there was an assisted living for the nuns on campus, and the nuns would come do water aerobics.
That's incredible.
That's part of how I started my career, walking seniors on the track that were pulmonary and cardiac patients. And so I've loved them since the day I really understood that it was a career.
It's amazing to me how everybody has that start. Everybody has a story. So I was part of the Senior Living Sales and Marketing Book Club this morning, and everybody's talking about their why. And a lot of times their why really starts with that start in something, and they found this deeper meaning of their work. And so I think that's so incredible. And that's why, again, going back to why the space with this group, everybody's so kind, is because everybody has the same mission.
And
everybody's on the same path. We're swimming in the same direction.
Like many of us, our mission is to take care of those seniors. No matter what area we're in, sales, operation, clinical, financial, you still, at the end of the day, we do it for the love to enhance those lives of those seniors every day. Like many, many of the folks here. And that's what keeps you going. No matter what.
Well, and that's what kind of brings us to the topic that you and I were thinking about discussing today, which is consumer demand. And I appreciate you mentioning this topic. It's something really important that I feel like we need to address more. And how is consumer demand changing? And where we were is not where we are now, and where we are now is not where we're going. And so I'd love to get your input on where does senior living consumer demand stand at this moment, and what changes have you seen?
Well, think about us as individuals, how much our lives have changed since Amazon, since Uber, since DoorDash. How much technology has changed. Well, the seniors are exposed to that before they come to senior living. Their technology, they have their cell phones. They're learning how to use apps. Things like that become extremely important. So as all these things are changing for us, I say consumer demand. If there's one thing that you hear, what would you want? No matter what your age are, what would you want? Because they're no different. We know that a 75-year-old person is young now. They're still working. They can work remotely. Those type of things. Our age demographics are the 85 plus, but that doesn't mean that their children aren't making sure that they have a cell phone, making sure they have Wi-Fi, that making sure they know how to use certain apps and all. And then they come into our building, and the technology has to be there. The Wi-Fi has to be able to power streaming services on a smart TV. There has to be on demand for food. There has to be the transportation. they can get an Uber
Yeah.
from their house. Now
Yeah.
their daughter may be setting it up,
Yeah.
but they
But
still
once they
know.
get set up,
Yeah.
like I will say this, their technology acumen, we don't give enough credit.
Yeah.
This group spent a big chunk of their life around technology, from the internet coming to play with emails. It's not like technology is a new thing, but they had to adapt quickly. And always go back to COVID, how to connect with loved ones. They had to learn how to Zoom. They had to lean into some social media, approaches. And then I think about my wife's grandmother. Her name is Grandma Betty. And I always reflect on, really her experience. She's 89 years old. And I go back to when we were on vacation all together, like we'd go to the beach, go to the pool. Well, she would hang out in the room and she would watch her soaps on the Peacock app. She would be on Facebook, and she's the one that would do some research of like the different, restaurants, like looking through the Google profiles and looking which ones had the best ratings. And then on top of that, I remember I was at the beach one afternoon and my youngest texted me like, "Can we get Uber Eats?" And I was like, "No, let's wait. We're going to eat." And she said, "Well, Grandma Betty was asking if we could." And I was like, "What in the world?" And so like you said, this demand and this awareness, like we need to evolve with these changing times and not just try to go back to the way it was.
Right. And so, Grandma Betty is a great example.
Yeah.
We have to embrace that. Do you have a spot for your Amazon delivery
Oh,
of
that's great.
pickups?
Yes.
Do you have blind spots with your Wi-Fi? Is your high-speed internet enough to handle every single person
That's great. Yeah.
streaming Peacock or Netflix
Yeah.
or things of that nature? Because gone are the days that you have a library with one computer that the seniors go to
yes.
and that they learn how to use. They're texting. Do you have a way that they can text down to the concierge?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And I'm like everyone in senior living, we're evolving too. But is there an app? Should a senior living have an app where they do everything through the app? They know how to use apps.
Yeah.
Those kind of things. Those are things we have to think of from a consumer demand. We have to keep up with technology. We have to think about from a design standpoint. What type of light is in their apartment? What kind of
Yes.
technology do you have when they get out of bed?
Yeah.
Is there something that turns on the lights that'll help reduce falls? And it's a very simple thing,
Yeah.
but they have it in their homes.
Yeah.
They have motion sensors in their homes. They have Alexa that gives them reminders,
Yeah.
type of thing. How are we setting up their room
Sure.
like what they have currently in the community? We're always thinking about the pictures and about their personal and something memorable to them and their furniture and all. But are we really looking at that technology?
Yeah.
Where are they putting their computer? Are we building into our rooms a computer area? They all have computers now, or an iPad. Are there enough electrical plugs?
Yeah.
If you think about time, you're charging phones and iPads and computers, and
Yeah.
are our rooms,
Set up.
our apartments set up for
Yeah.
all of that? The consumer, we can't use electrical cords in many states, so we have to figure out to make sure they can have all their technology.
Yeah.
But it's not just technology. It's they want to have a purpose.
Yes.
They want to continue to contribute to society.
Mhm.
And many of them are very, very busy.
Yeah.
But what are we doing that continues to enhance their life and help them? One of the speakers here talked about the bucket list.
Yeah.
What are those things? And he said the bucket list, like ones that I don't, but really it's what's on their bucket list
Sure.
that they still didn't get to do.
Yeah.
Whether it was travel, whether it was participate in certain activities of things. What are we doing
Yeah.
to help them from a consumer demand standpoint to continue to live the life that they always wanted to live?
Yes. And I've taken a ton of notes. I love everything you just said. And this is why we're all here, because I've learned so much. So one thing, you and I might have spoke about this yesterday, but the word that keeps coming up this week is experience.
Yes.
You would think that going into this, it'd be more technology, AI, which we've talked about that, but when it all comes back to it, we need to provide an experience
Yes.
for our residents, right? And really think about from the Legion to the move-in into living. And again, I think about what somebody said, like, unfortunately, this narrative with senior living communities, I think a society sometimes frames it as a place to go and die. this is a place to go and live. And if we could provide the best experience, we can leverage technology to really get them even more connected with family. We can leverage technology to bring people together. And so something I want to ask you about, which I've heard so many times, is actually leveraging the workforce to provide technology support for the residents.
Oh,
So like the IT team
absolutely.
is not just handling IT functions for the community itself, but they're actually leaning into the residents and having technology classes and
Yes.
getting this group even more comfortable, and gives them more of a sense of purpose and connection and belonging with their family members.
You are so correct, Larry, because you mentioned it, Zoom, Teams, all. It's a great way for them to see
Yeah.
their families. Well, life engagement usually or activities, they're a big part of that
Yeah.
because everything that you're doing activities wise has a technology stand to it now. And like you said, computer classes, but it's even more than that. It's how do they it's not just learning how the simple errors, how do they get to where they want to be from a technology standpoint? Because they want to talk to their grandkids. They want to do the things. So is it Instagram? Is it WhatsApp?
Yeah.
Is it, those are the types of things they want to learn what their grandchildren are doing.
Yeah.
We have several communities, they make TikTok videos all
great.
the time.
Yes.
And there's nothing more fun than watching the smiles on their
I'm
faces
sure.
while they're making those TikTok
And then I can
videos.
imagine them seeing themselves on
Yes.
the phones and the cameras, and like, I did that.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
incredible.
And it's super simple for any community to do that, and it doesn't cost anything.
Yeah.
And we already all have something. So there's so much with technology now that you can do that they want to be a part.
Yes.
And there's also things from a safety standpoint to help make sure that their lives, why there's a ton of technology out, not only fall detection, but changes in condition.
Sure.
Ways to just like to pick up subtly
Yeah.
if they're not eating as well.
Yeah.
How we can actually help enhance their lives is part of that clinical. Clinical pays the backhand,
Yeah.
but technology can help you with that because we know that the average senior that comes to live in our communities is going to live 2 to 3 years longer
For sure.
than if they had stayed in their own home. They're getting better nutrition.
Yeah.
They're getting their meds. They're getting better detection because somebody knows if Grandma Betty is off and you say to
Yes.
her, you want to order Uber Eats?
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I don't
Not
feel
feeling it.
it today, kind
Yeah.
of thing. Because there's team that knows her
Yeah.
to pick up on those subtle
For
things
sure.
that
And
are around.
then you think about that team, and they connect with family members.
Yes.
And their family members know that they're being, like, their loved ones are being cared for.
Yes.
And if we think about on the marketing side, there's nothing better than a strong referral. I work for a marketing agency, and we want to drive leads. Nothing will outcompete a good referral from a family member. And so if
Absolutely.
we provide that experience, that's what's going to set that bar. And with that, we need to be a good human and really provide this service to those who need us the most. And I think that's so important at this phase.
Well, and one of the biggest compliments is when families come in and go, oh, Grandma Betty's too busy to spend time with me. She's so busy in her
It's the
activities.
best.
It's the best
yes,
thing.
yeah.
Like, hey, I had to make an appointment. Somebody said this to me. I had to make an appointment with my mom for 6 months
I heard
out.
someone else say that. Yeah.
Because of the fact they were so busy and they were so happy.
Yes.
But that also then comes to a senior living. When you talk about consumer demand, they're used to having family dinners
Yeah,
with
sure.
their families. And yeah, many of us have a private dining room, but where are all the areas
Yeah.
where they can get together
Yeah.
and have those meals and do those celebrations? Nothing new, but that doesn't change when they move in because it's not just the apartment, the whole community
Yeah.
has to become like their home
For sure.
that they can share
Yeah.
with their family, their friends, and their loved ones.
And it's going back to the experience word. And that was something else you said I think is really important to note is I'd say the advancements in health tech.
Yes.
I'd say health tech and senior living. We think about wearables and everything. It's a whole different, 100%. Yeah. So like in aging services, it's a next level. You can, without too much interference, you can keep track of people's, like temperatures.
Yes.
You can like the fall detection. You can like, there's so many things. Just provide that peace of mind, especially for family members. They can't provide this type of service and care where this information helps guide a lot of the decisions and support. that being said, we're at a sales and marketing conference, and I know I got, let you go back to the conference and everything, but I got one more question. How do marketing teams, how can they leverage some of this experience and really try to get the word out about this change of demand and change of, I say, sophistication when it comes to all things experience, technology, and support to those who are moving into their communities?
Well, and I think that's part of what we're evolving, and
Yeah,
that's
sure.
part of why we're here at Smash,
Yeah.
is to learn from folks like you. How do we get that message out?
Mm.
Because it's got to be a message that resonates, that we're not the same as we
Yeah.
were 5 years ago,
That's great.
10
Thank
years
you.
ago. Senior living has changed.
Yes.
Just like as I started with Amazon and DoorDash and
Yeah.
all these things that have changed, we have changed too.
Yeah.
But the public doesn't always know that and
Yeah.
see that. So it's showing through pictures.
Yeah.
It's not just words, but it's showing those TikTok messages. It's showing on Facebook. It's showing how those things technology wise, it's showing that they, whether it's an Apple Watch, they have their wearable
Yeah.
that we have as part of the technology to help if somebody should fall, or like you said, to read their blood pressure and all. It's showcasing when you do a video tour of your community. It's not just about that it looks pretty, but it's the things that are in that apartment
Yeah.
that have been set up for them.
Absolutely.
It's showcasing that experience that you talked about,
Yeah.
because you got to show it.
Yeah.
Because the only one to really, in my mind, is to experience the experience.
Absolutely. And when it comes down to, I just wrote peace of mind.
Yes.
We're providing peace of mind for loved ones. We're providing peace of mind for those who are moving in. We need to provide peace of mind at every step of the way. So
Absolutely. I mean, it's the hardest thing a family member will
For
ever,
sure.
ever do.
yes.
And there's all these things that they hear, all these worries.
yes. A lot of second guessing.
And our job is to show them that it's not that way.
yeah.
That this is the best opportunity and experience that they didn't ever know that they needed.
For sure.
There's the other thing that's so much fun, besides saying a family member saying Grandma Betty's too busy, is to say she loves it. She's
Yes.
doing so much better
Yes.
than she was at
She is
home.
living her
She's
best life.
thriving
Yes.
in her life.
And I'll leave on this. It's funny, like, as we all have our experiences. I was speaking with a friend recently. His grandmother, moved into a assisted living community, and he said, I was blown away, like, how many friends that she has made, and she is living her best life in this moment. And he was just telling me how happy he was to see her in that environment and see her connecting with so many friends now. So I think, again, this is our deeper why and what we do. And so just thank you for being a part of this conference, guiding this conference. Thank you for participating in this conversation. I've learned so much from you today, Heather, and this is why you're the Chief Strategy Officer. And again, just want to tell you thank you for your impact.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Unlock, for the opportunity to speak with you. And thank you again for being part of Smash.
Awesome. Well, we'll continue the conversation. We just have to hit the stop button. So this is great. Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
What an incredible conversation with Heather TerHark. As Heather reminded us, senior living isn't just about housing or care, it's about creating experiences that reflect how today's consumers live, connect, and thrive. Here are a few takeaways that I made notes of during this conversation. First, technology is now part of the resident experience. From apps and streaming to health tech and smart design, innovation must meet residents where they are. Second, experience drives engagement. The goal isn't to sell a place to live, it's to create a place where people truly live their best lives. And finally, peace of mind matters the most. For residents and families alike, confidence and safety, connection, and quality of life is the ultimate differentiator. A big thank you to Heather for sharing with us today, and to the entire Smash team for the work they do to elevate this industry. And until next time, let's go create some meaningful connections.